This video was brought to you by you, or one of you. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can get access to my content ad-free and early, get your name in the credits, and more for as little as £2 a month. And without further ado, please enjoy the video. Quick disclaimer. This video will spoil James Gunn's Superman from 2025 in its entirety and is made with the assumption that you have watched the film beforehand. Should you not have done so, I highly recommend you give it a watch and form your own opinion before watching this video. It will still be waiting for you afterwards. Also, be warned that there will be some spoilers for the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy and 2008's Iron Man film. In the climax and emotional peak of James Gunn's Superman from last year, our titular protagonist says this:
I screw up all the time, but that is being human.
I would like to start this video by posing a question to you, and by challenging this moment. When did Superman screw up at all? With the context the film has given us, I would argue that this can only refer to Superman intervening in Yarhampur to prevent Baravia's takeover. With the context of the real world's events surrounding the film, I would argue that this moment reaffirms an idea spoken in repetition in the film. The idea that it would be a mistake to jump the gun to protest the war on Palestine, to stop the genocide in Gaza. In this video, I intend to dispute the idea that 2025's hit Superman film, the true debut of James Gunn's vision for the next era of the cinematic DC universe, could truly be Hope Core. Through several points that I've split into separate parts, I will break down that if I were to align myself with the film's view of our reality, according to my reading of the film, I would be left feeling extremely cynical and depressed, and most importantly, disinclined to political action and incentivized to complacency. Despite the attempt to expand the main cast beyond just the titular superhero, the film consistently fails its portrayals of women, minimizing their roles in the film. From the pool of supervillains, we can identify only the Engineer. The film identifies that she has forfeited her humanity in pursuit of her goals. However, this is never explored, and her character feels shallow compared to her peers. Lex, which may be an unfair comparison as he is our primary antagonist, and Ultraman, who is the catalyst of the film's climactic action sequence and whose identity reveal is a pivotal moment for the plot. The Engineer is also the last villain to be introduced as an antagonist to Superman in some way, and the first to be defeated by him. From the pool of metahumans, or other superheroes who aren't Superman, we can only look to Hawkgirl, as Supergirl's presence serves more as a cameo for sequel bait. Hawkgirl's screen time and dialogue just managed to undercut Green Lantern as the least present of the superheroes in the film. She also acts the most out of self-interest of this pool of characters, killing the Baravian leader after his genocide has failed, and refusing to help Lois help Superman due to the politics and risk of doing so. From the pool of remaining human characters, we can identify a small group of women who crush on Jimmy Olsen from a distance at the Daily Planet, Cat Grant, whose screen time is mostly dedicated to talking about dating men, Eve Tessmaker, who is played stereotypically as Jimmy Olsen's crazy ex. Her stupidity is intended to be subverted for intelligence in the film's latter half, but her excessive coveting of Jimmy Olsen remains after this, and she is the butt of jokes in lacking a reciprocated interest. And we can of course identify Lois Lane. Lois is in something akin to a situationship with Superman at the start of the film, and their relationship is one of the main points of conflict in the film. Early on, she criticizes Superman for his intrusion into Baravia, and attempts to outline how the public could misconstrue his actions. A meaningful criticism of foreign intervention is possible here. However, it is made clear throughout that a genocide would have happened should Superman not have shown up before the events of the film proper. This interpretation is also pushed against by the resolution of this conflict, where the Justice Gang prevents the takeover of Yarhampur, a group owned by an American corporation, Lord Tech. Lois's arc is one of learning to embrace personal conflict and emotional vulnerability, Her character is an obstacle for Superman to overcome in his own arc, and the film portrays her arc as resolved when she enters a relationship with Superman wholeheartedly. The obstacle of Lois Lane is one equal to the other problems faced by Superman in his own arc, and being with her is a goal he pursues alongside facing off with supervillains and preventing genocide with similar relative importance. Furthermore, her role in the film is significantly reduced once she teams up with Mr. Terrific. His presence overshadows her, and he is responsible for many of the film's most memorable moments, saving many characters throughout multiple instances with one-liners to boot. At no point throughout James Gunn's Superman did it feel as though the role of women was equal to that of men. Every woman has a man that she is intrinsically associated with according to the film's structure, and no woman is given the depth of her counterpart. Do you refer to yourself as one of the masses, just another nobody who's part of a hive mind? Do you consider yourself naive or stupid? James Gunn's Superman does. Within literal seconds of having their lives saved by Superman, a news broadcast sends the general public into a state of outrage and distrust towards him, losing their faith in their savior immediately. The film expresses a deep distrust of the resolve and intelligence of most people, never portraying them to be critical of what they're told by media or people in power. There is a universe where, for me, this works. Superman the film could have been a critical argument against the way the media landscape operates, and it could have been a cutting and cynical commentary on the existence of herd mentality. Again though, this doesn't gel well with the idea that Superman 2025 is a piece of hopecore media. Making this worse is how animals are deployed throughout the film. Lex Luthor's rage-baiting monkey bots do comment on the way that bots can be used to shape consensus and cultural bias. However, they also refuse to engage with the people who enact hate speech or fall into hateful states whilst vulnerable, ultimately reducing those people to angry monkeys. The use of dogs and a squirrel, with a particular focus on crypto, feels like an appeal to a vapid interest in cute animals. These CGI critters increase the stakes and play to the animals' innocence. As a member of the audience, it feels like the film thinks the death of innocent people, particularly children, isn't enough to keep me invested. Bringing us back to the start of this video, I'd like to look at some of the film's final moments. Superman's arc hinges on him feeling comfortable being imperfect, making mistakes. The film frequently refers to him as an alien as a point of contention and othering, and the point works. There is a great deal more pressure on minorities to be perfect, and there are often far greater repercussions for failing to be perfect. As a lot of media rhetoric communicates here in the West, should an immigrant be perfect, then that means they've earned the right to exist around imperfect people, otherwise unrewarded. Should they be imperfect or associated with imperfection, then their right to life should be minimized. Here in the UK, one of our leading political parties, the Reform Party, seeks to replace the European Convention for Human Rights with one exclusive to British people. Under their policy, who counts as a British citizen would also be reduced, making fundamental human rights conditional for many people. Many people are for this, because they've had misconstrued that too many immigrants come to the country to commit crimes, even though the proportion of these crimes is misconstrued by media outlets like Reform Party's own GB News. The arc presented in Superman works in this regard to criticize this real-world system, where our titular superhero is stripped of his dignity and tortured without legal protection because others like him intended to do wrong, even if he personally didn't. However, there is a fundamental flaw with how Superman's personal growth is conveyed. He screws up all the time, according to his emotional peak at the end of his personal arc, but we never see him as less than perfect. The one reference point is knowing that he acted to prevent a genocide without considering the implications of doing so. The film is frequently plagued by a complicated relationship to the war on Palestine, which is paralleled throughout. Like Lex Luthor, Ultraman, a decaying pocket dimension, and a situationship with Lois Lane, this genocide in another country is a problem that only superheroes can overcome, one that Superman and the Justice Gang must deal with. The film mentions that America is allied with Moravia, thus Israel, but is never interested in condemning or criticizing how this relationship is manipulated to support Yahrampurian or Palestinian genocide. This allyship only serves to justify why Superman shouldn't get involved until the media landscape has shifted, and once again views him favourably. Or you could say it serves to justify why Superman should wait to stop a genocide that we can't otherwise. So far, I have worked to outline what I think are some of the biggest failings of Superman 2025, but I think it's important to clarify that the goal of this video isn't to pose as a critic of superhero media or James Gunn films, just Superman. The Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy is excellent. Throughout each of the films, the stakes of the action and narrative are closely intertwined with the main cast's arcs. James Gunn's filmography of superhero movies has demonstrated the ability to have well-written women, where Superman didn't. In the first film, Gamora's arc sees her grapple with her autonomy, separating herself from the tyrants of her past and choosing her family in the present. We see her shift and change with depth in ways that are deeply engaging, and the same can be said for Mantis and Nebula in the following films. But I think it's not just this. The first film portrays herd mentality in a way that is far more optimistic, where the Nova Corps on Xandar are malleable despite being a group of mostly nameless common people. This group acts against their predetermined judgments and law to protect the masses. And I know it's not a James Gunn film, but the original Iron Man is also another superhero film that doesn't have all of Superman's issues. It too parallels the present day conflict in a way that works far better, going as far to portray and condemn companies from the United States that benefit from conflict overseas. I have heard it argued that the failures of James Gunn's Superman are a product of its development, in which the film shifted from writing a parallel to the war in Ukraine to the war on Palestine. Still, I don't find this argument persuasive. I have yet to hear this spoken as a caveat, where the film is recommended barring exceptions to these issues. I have only heard it spoken to defend the film when I take grievance with it against those who don't. This piece of trivia, should it be true, doesn't confront the film in front of us. It doesn't change the film that we'll remember, or the one that many people celebrate. It also doesn't accurately defend the film, unless we argue that the invasion of Ukraine is somehow easier to justify than that of Palestine. The film before us, the one I will continue to remember, is one I struggle to see as anything less than cynical. Throughout even the film's surprisingly harsh colour grading and oversaturation, we can feel the implication that reality isn't good enough to show on screen. Watching this reboot of the upcoming DC cinematic universe, I was compelled to get others to see the film through the tired, critical eyes I had. Because otherwise, I am respecting this as the precedent for the next 10 years or so of mainstream superhero blockbusters. If I am to accept that 2025's Superman is just another unserious action film, ignoring its flaws, then I'll be turning a blind eye to sexism and to genocide, and I'll feel compelled to do nothing, knowing that I can't change a thing. Hello, Thank you for making it to this point in the video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, all that jazz. And if you didn't enjoy and you somehow made it this far watching out of spite or something, maybe leave a like out of spite and spite subscribe as well. On my second channel in a week, I'll be having a video release that will go into some depth, but not a lot of depth because it's a low effort video, just about the other things about Superman 2025 that I did not like. I don't think it holds up much as a film, and some of those extra details that aren't in this video will be there. If you'd like to watch that video now, you should check out my Patreon, which leads us to the Patreon bit. For £2 a month, at the price of a Monster Energy a month, you can get all my videos ad-free and early, get your name in the credits, and you get access to exclusive videos where I go into the media I experience each month, books, films, games, etc. For £3 a month, the price of a tub of butter a month, you get access to all of this, obviously, and not only will your name also be in the credits, but it will be bold and in purple atop the credits, and you'll get the ability to ask me questions that will appear in my Q&A videos when I make them. I'm aiming to do them every other month, but I haven't had enough questions asked yet. For £5 a month, the price of a Happy Meal a month, you would get your name read out in the credits, and you would get access to voting polls to decide what content I make. And finally, for £10 a month, the price of a meal at Wetherspoons or Taco Bell if pubs aren't your thing, you would get access to all of the aforementioned stuff. You would get to ask me questions that I would answer atop the credits in all my videos, and you would get access to exclusive videos where I go behind the scenes on my content. What am I working on? What have I scrapped? What ideas am I working up? Etc. A little look behind the scenes. If you would still like to support me, but memberships aren't your thing, understandable, you can check out my Ko-fi. For all of these things, there'll be links in my description. Unfortunately, I can't offer rewards for paying me on Ko-fi, but your support would be much appreciated. And that's all. With all of that said, TTFN, that means ta-ta for now.